Welcome to the Rocket Roof Show, where we equip fellow roofers to do more commercial business every first and third Thursday of the month. It's time to launch your business to the next level.
This is Project Command. Stand by at power transfer.
3, 2, 1, blast off!
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Rocket Roof Show. I'm your host, Andy Neer. And once again, I'm an owner of a roofing company here in Michigan, but I like to do this podcast as a way to equip and educate contractors for the commercial roofing industry. And so today I brought on a guest that I've been wanting to connect with for a few months. His name is Ben Menchaca. Did I say that right? Ben Menchaca?
Yeah, Menchaca.
Okay, out of Minnesota. That's where he's currently at. And just a preface here is Ben's not actually in the commercial market, but I really like what he's doing. And I think what he's doing in the sales game, it can really transcend a lot of the points of what he's doing and the energy and the enthusiasm you had. When I seen you at the Roofing Process Conference, I'm like, I got to get this guy. Maybe some of the techniques that you have and the enthusiasm can bleed over to what we're doing in commercial. So great to have you with us.
Thank you for I really appreciate the invitation. And I have to say, I'm probably the first door knocker on your show, right?
Yes, you are.
Yep. I love that. I love it. I'll use it, man.
So we have a thing, a commercial. It's not door knocking because in commercial, you can walk into a business and talk to them. So we call that a cold call. But when people think cold call, they think of a telephone, right? Well, that's not what we call. We call it a cold call. Just walk into a business, you talk to a receptionist or you talk to the building owner, but it's a similar concept, right? And you're doing something that's right out of the gate and, you're talking off the hip and sometimes you have a hard time getting out of the truck to go call on them. So there's a lot of similarities, but yeah, let's start out the show. I got a ton of questions for you. And let's just dive into it. And I want to start off by just giving a little preface of where you started, because you haven't been in residential roofing for a long time. What got you into it, and what's your past look like?
So I was originally in the trades. I've been in the trades all my life, and when 2008 hit, it devastated a lot of the trades. I was looking for a new opportunity. So I went down to Texas and got involved in the sheet metal industry. And I was a sheet metal apprentice when I got started. I was in my 4th year, about to graduate, and just wasn't happy. Was not taking care of myself because I wasn't happy. And 2 gentlemen who I worked for before, who had previous experience with, they said, "Hey, come to the storm restoration industry. You'd be great. You could make this much money." When they told me how much money they made, I didn't believe them because I didn't think anybody could make that kind of money without a college degree or being a brain surgeon,
Yep.
So it took me 8 months to take the leap. I had my final day of disgust when I couldn't pay my rent, and I'm like, I'm not living like this anymore. So I headed on, burnt the ships, and hopped in my car and sold everything and went to the East Coast to pursue the storm restoration opportunity.
So I got to stop you right there. I know I got a list of questions here, but something piqued my interest, what you just said there. You seen the opportunity, but it took you 9 months. So what finally pushed you over the edge? Was it you got so frustrated with the job you were in, or did you finally see some data, or did you finally see some proof in the pudding that you could make it this kind of money?
I saw check stubs and sales leaderboards and some of those items, and I'm like, and then what did it for me? I came into the industry through Able Restoration. They had a 100-man sales team from across the continent, right?
Yep.
And they were the first ones to do lifestyle videos. So now everyone does it, right, to create content. But back then it was unknown. And they had all these young kids making crazy amounts of money. And I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. If it's available, then it's available for me. Mm-hmm. So I saw some check stubs and other things like that.
I remember watching I watched Les Brown a lot, and in there he says that multiple times. He goes, I believe that people can make $1 million, or the easiest thing I ever did was make $1 million. But the hardest thing was to believe that it could happen to me. That's that belief that we have a hard time getting over it, right?
Well, yeah, I state that in the video, that, my think was so small back then. This industry expanded my vision when I saw what was possible for the average person, no degree. Yep. Doesn't matter if you have a record. Doesn't matter if you're, you have money or not, or you I was like, I couldn't believe these people with less qualifications than me were out earning me.
Yeah, I hear you.
I was like, dude, no way. Let me see if I can participate in that.
Yep. Okay. So, first question is, when you started doing this job, there's a lot of people that come to me and I'm like, why haven't you landed any jobs? And they don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. But I've come to find out a lot of people are hung up with, they have a hard time walking in and selling a job because they don't know it all. They feel like they got to know it all. They feel like they're going to have to study every system and every application, and they got to know every warranty, and they've got to know how to tell it the right way, and all these scripts. Obviously, guys like you, I'm not going to say BS your way through it, but you've got to be able to go in and on like day 2 or day 3. I mean, you can't start for 3 months while you're waiting to learn it all. Tell me how you got over that hump of, hey, I'm going to sell roofs. I'm going to learn a little bit on the weekend or in a week, and then hit the sidewalks. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I was a big proponent of self-development. I was in a network marketing company, and I didn't make a lot of money, but what I did get out of it was the idea of personal development. If my income was to increase, I'd have to increase my knowledge.
Yeah.
So I had that background going for me where I just worked on myself previously to get in. 2010, I started network marketing and personal development, and really it changed my life, and so I brought that over, and my mentors say awareness is the key to change, right? If you don't know what's the problem, then you won't know how to fix it. So I just, I took all these good mentors and all their information, and I just went all in. I'm a big Grant Cardone fan, and he says, too. Yes. And he says that you have to get used to the activity. Don't worry about getting good, just get into activity and then get good. So I was just like, what you lack in skill, you can make up in numbers.
Oh yeah.
My first month, I knocked 850 doors. And in that amount of doors, I learned objections, body language, just all kinds of things that are human kind of things that you need to know. Cause doesn't matter, we're selling roofs and whatever, but you're dealing with human beings. Mm-hmm. So my ability to connect with the human being transcended all the obstacles I had to overcome. The obstacles, when you have personal development, you need something to keep you going before you get there.
Yeah.
And I just had that mindset. I know if I do this much activity, it's the law of averages. I can't fail. That's what I worked in. I'm soon learning different things now that you don't have to knock that many doors. But I was just I'm going to give it my all and leave it all on the field. And we'll see if what they say is true.
Yep. I totally agree. I love that statement of if you don't have the talent, you got to make it up in numbers at the beginning. Later, as you get better, you can fine tune those numbers.
The best thing is just to take action. All my life. Well, here's what got me. When Cam and them guys said to come, he said a very cliche kind of thing. He said, jump and the net will appear. And that really kind of closed me. I took his faith in me. I used other people's faith in me before I had it in myself.
Yep. Yeah, I think a lot of people are like that, especially in the roofing trades. A lot of people are like that. And I see people that I actually sometimes put false faith in. I'm like, wow, this guy's got charisma. This guy's got energy. He can do it. And I almost believe in them, but they don't believe in themselves. And I tell them, hey, I can't believe in you for you. You've got to be able to step up. And some people just got hung up in that. Yeah, I agree. I heard, you'd know his name if I said it, but on one of the Facebook forums, I heard a guy the other day say, good salesmen don't need to know how to sell, but they do need to know your system, your company, and your culture. So I think some people are like, well, I got to have a guy come in and I got to teach him how to sell. Well, most of the guys, they know how to sell, they know how to talk, they know how to communicate and stuff, but you got to know the culture of your company and the product you're selling, right? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
When you first get started, it's different, because when you first get started, things are different. But once you find out, you've been in the industry a while, you understand systems and processes are how the big boys are where they're at. Duplication is the name of the game. I got to duplicate a lot of Ben Menchacas. That's what I got to do. That's my job. I have to cast the vision for these people, and we have to, cast the culture and the mission statement of our company. We're recruiting right now, and honestly, in the past, you probably just take everybody with a big net. But what we're finding out is if we dial into the top people that we want, and the culture we want to bring, then that serves us very well. If there's a guy who's super hungry, doesn't know what he's doing, we'll probably take a chance on him, but we're dialed into a certain specific kind of salesman. We want to represent our culture.
Yep. I hear you. So I heard you say duplicatable, and I'm kind of going off script here a little bit, but do you do much of the production, or are you just sales?
So I'm in sales.
Okay.
We believe that salesmen should sell and not do production.
But in order for you to sell in the home or sell to a customer, you do have to coincide with you have to mesh with you're making promises. The people that are fulfilling the promises on the roof, you got to mesh with what you're talking about. So if you say for something, well, how is the dumpster looking? If you say, well, the dumpster comes in at such and such a time, and then we do the job and the dumpster leaves, it's easy for you to make all those promises. But if your production team isn't on cue with what you're saying, and when you say duplicatable, I think a lot of companies, they think, well, we do it like this way all the time, so the production crew is going to know that. But if you don't have it written down and spelled out, this is how the office communicates, this is what Ben's saying out at the sales process, and this is how, it's explain the importance of that. Or maybe you have a better example of what you mean by that, because this is I think there's a spot where a lot of roofing companies, they just think, well, I'm duplicatable. I'm duplicating myself, but they're not.
Right.
And that's an up right here.
Production is so important. It doesn't matter how many deals I sign if production's not on point.
Yep.
If I can't deliver the promises I made to my client, then it's going to be very difficult for me to pick up that final check.
Yep.
So a lot of the instances that I had with companies that I didn't stick around with had those issues.
Yep.
And I learned very early in the game that it's better to set the intention ahead of time, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, because the client will respect you as long as there's constant communication.
Yep.
But as far as what you're talking about, systems and processes, they're so important. You can wing it and have a good year. I know a lot of top producers who are, framing houses right now. But the guys that are in it to win it and are doing it every year, knocking it out of the park, they have a system and process they follow, and they don't deviate from it. They commit to it.
Yep. I hear you. Good point. So walk me through what your average day looks like. You get up in the morning, what's your average day look like?
Well, it's different. Like right now we're in Minnesota. It's the off season. Like I said, this is the first off season I'm able to chill out and kind of get my thoughts together, get off the road. It wasn't very healthy on the road. My health suffered. But
that doesn't mean you're sleeping. I mean, I've seen you more on Facebook doing stuff lately. You might not be knocking doors.
I'm always active. I'm always accomplishing something. And what I do, I'm going to come out with something that's, going to go over a 90-day run to help the industry set the intention and elevate the level of the industry. But what I do is during season, I knock out a lot of things. I cut all out the bad habits. I start by waking up in the morning. I do 10 minutes of a good book or good YouTube, some kind of motivation. I pray and I exercise, get the endorphins going. And then, I plan out my day before it happens. I think that's so important, and it gets overlooked. If you don't have a direction where you're going, then you're going to be everywhere. And in this industry, the people, you got to get dialed in. What do you want to do? What do you want to do daily, hourly, weekly, monthly, yearly? Have it all on paper and I just follow it. I'll get up, like I said, go to the gym, then I'll go to my neighborhood, or I'll scope out a neighborhood that I'm thinking about, and I simply will stay there and be committed. This is a big tip. If you stick and stay, you'll get your pay. Everybody's chasing different rabbits, but if you chase 2 rabbits, you get none. So what I learned is if you stick and stay in an area, a cul-de-sac, a street, a neighborhood, and money requires attention, right? So you got to get their attention. And once they see you a lot of times, then they think that you're part of the neighborhood and you're more apt to knock down those walls, knock down those objections. So I like to get out there early and often, and I just live on the block. I literally live during the storm season. I come home late, I leave early. A lot of people like to knock prime hours, that's fine. But I honestly like live on the block. My most comfortable feeling is when I'm knocking doors. All the other stuff, paperwork, AccuLinks, all that, I could do without, but I really enjoy what I do because I feel that we are providing a tremendous amount of service and value. Why wouldn't I want to shout it from the rooftops?
Right. Amazing. So what do you do after a long day? Like, how do you wind down?
So usually, man, I mean, I come home and one of my favorite things to do, I take a shower and then I grab all those contingencies I signed and I just data entry. And I love that part of it. It's like the business part, right?
Yep.
And I just, you know, I get down my calendar. All right, they'll probably have an adjustment on this day. I'll put whatever information comes from the contingency. I'll put it in the CRM. I'll upload all my pictures. I try to take as many pictures as I can at the inspection so I don't have to do it again because I do so much volume. It's hard, my time starts to get spread thin really quick.
Yep.
So any way that I can have an advantage, and I don't spend a lot of time when I sign people up. I'm really quick about it because the real action is going to happen when the adjuster's out, right? The stuff that counts. So I'm just there to verify there's damages and document them, go over with the homeowner and call in the claim. My job is to get that claim and claim numbers.
Yep.
Simply put, I don't get all caught up in everything else.
Okay.
But I like to wind down just like entering contingencies in their CRM. That gets me, you know, excited.
So let's just say you run out of leads today. What are you doing this weekend to make sure you have jobs to look at and things to look at on Monday? And let's use a door knocking or non-door knocking scenario for somebody that's like, you know, shoot, I'm all out of leads. I don't have nothing coming in. What am I doing Saturday and Sunday to make sure that I'm looking at roofs on Monday?
Well, you know, who's got my money, right? Grant Cardone says, who's got my money?
Yep.
Who out there has my money? That's what I'm thinking. I'm all about who's got my money.
Right.
Is it the cold list, the guys that I lost, like those clients that I have like somehow dropped out of the pipeline? Let me touch those guys again, you know? Start with what you have first.
Yep.
Regroup, go over it, hit them again, and just say, hey, like, I'm just making sure you didn't get lost in the shuffle. A lot of people we were able to help this year. Where are you at in the process? It's just hit your original cold, dead leads, quote unquote, dead leads, hit them again. And if there's none like that, I just go out and knock a door. I mean,
I just met a guy today that I work with in Indiana. He's one of my associates, another roofing company. But I was just mentioning today about he's like, I took your clue about following up, even with people that have told me no. So he was looking at a commercial building, and the guy was trying to knock him down on price, $8,000 on a commercial building. And he's like, I'm sorry, I just cannot come down that much. And you know, if you want to go with the other company, you know, I wish you the best. You know, he was really nice about it. Well, he drives by this building once in a while, and he's like, man, it's been a few months and the roof hasn't been done. So I decided to call the guy up, and he's like, yeah, you know, well, and he says he ended up landing the job, even though he got told no, and kind of wrote the guy off. But like you said, call those people back, even if you feel like it's gone cold or it's done. You know, you go until the roof is done, or people tell you to stop calling them back. Well,
that's what separates the highly successful people from the average, right? fortune's in the follow-up. And I used to be afraid of following up people. I'm like, man, I'm bothering these guys and whatever. But I realized that the reason people don't follow up or whatever is just because they don't believe in what they're doing. They don't believe in their service, their company, their production, whatever it is. That's usually the case. And it's funny you mentioned that outside of door knocking, you know, I get hit up with a lot of opportunities now, as you can imagine. And I politely decline a lot of them. But, you know, recently a software company got a hold of me and introduced me to this product that helps with follow-up. And I know a lot of salesmen need that help. So that's pretty exciting on the digital side, what I'm getting involved in, and that'll be released later. But I'm starting to understand that there's ways online that you can generate leads and follow up with them. I'm transitioning, like, you want high touch. Gary Vee said the other day, look how many of these TV stations are out of touch with folks.
Yeah.
And look how the people who knock doors and whatever, you want the person closest to the consumer wins.
Yep.
So I believe that's why door knocking will never go out of style, but there's ways to accent your game online.
Yep. And I'll give you a great tip there that I've used myself that's got me over that. Because I used to be afraid to follow up too. When I was in residential only, I never followed up. And in commercial, I kind of had to. But I teach my team, when you're calling up guy and you're following up and it's no, or you're not going to get any progress, ask for permission to call them again in a week or two. By asking them permission, you're doing two things. You're letting them know you are going to follow up, and you're also telling yourself, hey, I'm not bothering them because I've already given them the heads up. So now I feel more comfortable in a week or two when I call him because, hey, I already told him I'm gonna, and I've never had anybody tell me no. I've had people tell me, well, how about let's follow up in 2 weeks, not 1 week. But I've never had anybody tell me no. And so that'll definitely take the pressure off you for feeling like you're bothering people.
And I'm so like fluid and congruent with people. I'm really like, you see how I am. I'm just real. So if people are like not interested, no means not yet, not now, in my mind. Yep. So I do that the same. Hey, well, what's a good time to follow up with you? Tuesday or Wednesday? I always set a date. I look down that way, and then they just tell me. You know, you just force them to make a decision. But here's the thing: like some people, when I knock doors, people tell me no. I make them tell me no like 4 times.
Yeah.
Because people don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
You know, when people say, you know, hey, like, oh, I'm good. I go, what does that mean?
I was just having this conversation with my service tech today. I said, we went and did a cold call actually. And he's like, does that make you nervous? And I'm like, no. I said, the reason people are nervous when they go do that is because they don't believe that they're genuinely helping people out. I said, if you're walking on the sidewalk and you see a person walking on the sidewalk that's blind or doesn't have poor sight, and they're going to fall in a hole, are you going to tell them? He goes, well, yeah, I'm going to tell them. Why? Because I'm helping them. I said, if you genuinely feel like you are helping somebody, you won't feel bad. You'll feel good about cold calling and talking to them.
That's exactly right. And I like what you said because here's the thing. We offer a tremendous amount of value. We increase the value of the home for the price of the deductible. Plain and simple. Not a hard sell. You get a $20,000 roof for $500 or $1,000, your deductible. That in itself is not a hard sell. The challenge is projecting the offer with confidence and posture that you're the company to do it, you're the man to trust, and that you're going to do what you say you're going to do.
Yep, exactly.
We'd like to take just a quick break to thank our sponsor, Top Roof Marketing, a full-service marketing group that specializes in the commercial roofing industry. If you're looking to boost the commercial side of your business, they have lots of ideas to connect you with building owners who are looking for help. Visit toproofmarketing.com.
So, a couple of questions. Do you use a script?
No, I don't. I got 2 different scripts, right? So if it's new storm, hot, we're getting the block party started. I like to start block parties. I like to get both sides of the block and get all my signs there. That way we get some brand awareness going, right? And attention is the key. So if it's a fresh storm, I use the same script all the time. hey, I know you've been inundated by contractors. Where are you at in the process? Very simple. Shut up. Let them tell you where you're at. That way you're collecting a decision. Yes, no, maybe, whatever.
Yep.
And you can go taking their temperature, go to the next, because I'm all about, man, we have 6 months, bro. We have to go through as many people as we can in a short amount of time and to do it professionally and with purpose. So, you know, I say that. And then if it's like a cold storm or whatever, older, like we got hit in August and September of this year. So we have work next year. All of it didn't get taken up. Mm-hmm. So this year I'll just do a no roof left behind campaign and be like, hey, sorry to bother you. We were working with a number of your neighbors in the area. You know, same thing. Where you at in the process? Did you get help? Are you working with somebody? I'm just here to make sure you've been taken care of so I could cross you off my list.
Do you ever use like kind of an apologetic scenario where I'll say, hey, I just want to make sure we didn't forget about you. Or I'll say, I apologize. I didn't stop by a few weeks ago. We've been busy. I just want to make sure we didn't forget about you. Do you ever use any kind of like tactic?
You know what? I'm a confident person, right? As you can tell, but when I'm on the block, I dumb it down, man. People like, they don't know what they don't know. So if whatever it takes to get their attention, I use apology. You're not, like, a lot of experts say you're not supposed to do that, or why are you apologizing or this and that. And I disagree. It works for me. Yeah. Because it comes down to
you appear humble.
If you appear humble, not all thirsty.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I just dumb it down and like, hey, you know, come down to their level. This is all new to them. There's a lot of activity in the neighborhood. Some people are just like slow, you know, to process things, and you have to mirror match that, you know?
Yep, exactly. So how important is your story when you're out selling? Do you have a story, or do you use a story? Okay. Cause I know, like Grant and Gary Vee, they sometimes talk about having a story.
You know, I don't think I use a story. Here's the thing. I do things like now I'm getting together to put a book together and whatever. And it's so hard to document what you do subconsciously.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't use a story. But what I did in the beginning, Andy, you would have not liked my pitch. It was dirty. It was just not good. It was, hey man, like, my boss is behind me. I get $50 if you get on the roof. Can you help me out? I'm trying to keep the lights on. Like, just anything to get on the roof. That was my goal. I got to get this guy on the roof. I get paid $100 per contingency if I get him on the roof. So I was immature, growing just in the industry. So I did whatever it took until I learned whatever it took, you know? I didn't even know what a turtle vent was my first 2 years, really, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I didn't know roofing systems, what they did, ventilation, you know. So in that regard, I don't really use a story. I just do whatever it takes. But now I say the same thing all the time.
Okay. Good. So let's talk about salesman slump. I'm not talking about your leads just run out. I'm just saying mentally, you're like, you know, I seem to go through this for a couple of weeks every year. And I don't know, it's usually sometime between Thanksgiving and February. You know, it probably has something to do with the winter weather. We don't get very much sun around here. But for whatever reason, you get in a slump, and it's almost always mentally, right? You know, it's a mindset thing. And I have things that, you know, they say motivation is garbage. You know, it's all about, you know, doing things. But sometimes we need to dive into something. What do you do to do that? When you get in a slump, what do you use for motivation? What do you watch? What do you do? What do you read?
Yeah. So there's two answers to that. And that's a great question, man. A lot of people go through it. They don't know how to handle it. And just through trial and error, I learned that, you know, motivation is like taking a bath. You got to do it daily. Mm-hmm. It wears off. Mm-hmm. So what you got to do is you got to have a vision of where you want to be and what that looks like. If you want a brand new Mercedes, go to the Mercedes dealership, sit in the car, smell it, touch the leather, touch the steering wheel, whatever you desire, go and build your dream, build your vision, because that stuff's going to carry you through the slumps and the tough times. Yep. And also, secondly, very important, help somebody out.
Yeah.
I find that when I'm in a slump and I help somebody, how can I help somebody? I start asking myself, how can I help somebody? Whether it be a new salesman, someone that wants me to do an adjustment, someone who wants me covered inspection, whatever. I look to help people. And I don't know how the universe works, whatever, but like, it seems like when you help people, put someone else instead of you first, that a lot of good things, crazy things happen after that. You get a phone call from an old client you thought that was dead. You have somebody throw you a lead, you're sitting, like the office calls you with a lead. So those two things, like, and also I listen to a lot of, like I said, personal development. If I get in my head, then I'll go and hit the audible. I'll just, whatever, all those titles, I'll use other people's experiences to motivate me until I find my own.
Yep. And, I listen to a lot of, like I say, Grant Cardone, Zig Ziglar, Steve Harvey. I listen to a lot of these different guys, Gary Vee, a whole gamut of them, Tony Robbins. But, and I'll mention it to people and they'll be like, oh, that stuff just doesn't motivate me. I'll be like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. But you got to find something that does, because sometimes it's not every morning you wake up and you're like, oh, I want to just go conquer the block. I just want to go conquer the world. I mean, you do have those days, but sometimes you don't have it, and you need a little bit of push. And you don't always have that friend you can call, or sometimes you just want to have something you can learn and motivate you. So whether it's a video or, like you said, Audible, I dive into Audible too. Been listening to a lot of Grant Cardone lately, and I tell you, when I listen to him, it just kicks me in the butt, Today I was listening to David Goggins about how he ran the last 30 miles with broken foot. And I'm like, geez, this guy's like killing himself, and I'm not even doing 10% of that. So that kind of stuff is, like you said at the beginning, it's like, if that guy can do it, what's my problem? I should be doing it.
Right.
So yeah, thank you for that. Right here at the end here, we're about ready to wrap it up. Is there a power in networking? And has your view on networking, I'm not talking about networking company, I'm just talking about networking in the industry, because there's a lot of guys that they're like, they hear the word, they're not really sure what it means. But I think some of the events that we've been going to, especially like the one in December, we were in Orlando, it just shows you the power of networking.
I couldn't agree more. Because of all these wonderful things that happened through that video, I've been able to connect with a lot of different top leaders in your industry, my industry, like all different industries, just people who have the same drive, motivation as me, because successful people like attracts like, right?
Yep.
And so I believe in that law of attraction and all that. But the thing is that my network right now is unbelievable to me. Like, I have access, like I got Sam Taggart on speed dial. I got Becca Switzer on speed dial. I got like all these great, wonderful, and they were my heroes coming into this. And now I get to hang with my heroes.
Yep.
And talk about stuff that we talk about, that we do. It's hard to talk about with a close loved one what we do, because they don't do it, right? But the thing is about the network, I'm telling you right now, I'm in some international board meetings, and I'm sitting there on these Zooms, and I'm like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
And it was because they saw my video, so-and-so, and they liked my message, and they say, hey, I want to work with that guy, or I want to get to know that guy. And I just put out this good, positive energy, and my network has grown immensely. It's super important to network, because like we were talking about before, man, it's not about you. Get yourself out of the way, leverage other people. Hey, ask the guy who has what you want, how'd he get there? Most people are open that are successful. They appreciate you taking the initiative to reach out to them, because they want to share. Like, they didn't get there by themselves. They had help.
Yep.
And so I like to network and leverage other people's situations, so I don't have to go through them and minimize my failures. But there's power in failure, right?
Yep.
So you learn. But I think it's super important to network, to put yourself out there, to ask for help. A lot of people do not ask for help.
Yep.
My life started to change when I started getting myself out of the way and asking for help.
Well, I see too many people that ask for help, and then when they hear the answer, they don't like the answer.
Well, what do they call that? An asshole or whatever?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know,
You're the first time I've heard somebody else say that. I had a little piece of paper that said that a long time ago.
don't be an asshole, you
Yeah,
know?
that's right. I like what you said about, you got into this international forum, this committee, and you're like, what am I doing here? And I think that is a decisive point to anybody that's leveling up and you find yourself in a new group of people, or maybe you're doing the biggest house you've ever done, or the biggest commercial job you've ever done, or you're on a committee. A few years ago, I was on our city council, and I remember thinking for the first year, I was like, "What am I doing here? I'm the youngest guy on the board. I don't know jack. I'm just a dumb roofer, and I had all these lies in here, but." After a while I got comfortable, and the president and some of the other people were like, "Oh, we're so glad you're on this committee. You have some great questions." I didn't know jack squat about how the roads were put together or how the, city sewers, all that crap. I never read the crap they gave me to go home, so I wasn't a good politician, but I did like to make sure things are happening, make sure that the benches we promised to the residents got put in. So I had that to offer. And, but it took me a while to get that belief in my mind. And today I was hearing David Goggins say the same thing. He's like, he has what he calls a cookie jar, where he puts his accomplishments in the cookie jar. And he's like, when I'm having a bad day and I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm a retard, or I'm not doing this right. And he's like, I reach in that cookie jar and I'm like, that's right. I ran 100-mile marathon. I'm a bad mother trucker. I did this. I did that. I earned the spot. I can do this because I've done it, and I'm one of the baddest human beings on the planet. And like you got to that committee because you earned it. You've had a track record, and I think we got to tell that to ourselves sometimes. And it's not narcissistic or egotistical. It's just having the confidence to be ourselves.
I think that a lot of people outside looking in looks like you're bragging, right? Mm-hmm. But successful people celebrate the small wins.
Oh yeah,
we celebrate them. And then they're done and we're on to the next one. And it's so important to do that. I'm finding out that there's not a lot of people like me, where I think, oh, anybody could do this and that. But on this level, I'm just finding out what kind of level I'm at. And that's kind of surprising to me, but I celebrate the small wins. I celebrate that Andy, you're my first ever podcast ever.
Awesome.
So I'm celebrating. I post about it. I do whatever. Yep. I celebrate these little wins because, man, I just think back to where I was, bro, and that state of mind and that lack mentality and just that I just wasn't in a good place. And I'm just so blessed to have all these opportunities to meet people like you and all these other people, to be in your network is your net worth. And my network has gone up and my net worth has gone up, all because I knocked a door.
Yep.
And I just find that so amazing. I'm in a high-rise, beautiful new construction apartment with all the amenities. I could never afford this ever 3 years ago.
Right.
And so I think back and I show gratitude every morning. I wake up and I can't believe my life, man. Yep. So I owe it all to door in this wonderful industry. And I want to bring people in and show them that the American dream is alive and well here. Yep. It just looks like, overalls. You got to put your overalls on,
Even in 2021, right? Where everybody's complaining about, hey, I had a bad year in 2020, or the person that I voted for didn't get elected. It's going to be a hard year. And it's like, the economy is going to be what you make it, right? I'm not on that economy. I'm on my economy. Or I say I'm on God's economy.
Absolutely.
It's going to be what you make.
Door to Door had its best year ever during COVID. Imagine that.
Yep.
You're hearing all these bad stories on the news. Door to Door had a record year. I know people who had record years. I had 2 record months that I broke my own record these last 2 months, and in August, September. So how can that happen if it's such gloom and doom and then there's no, the nation's going to crap? It's because you got to turn off the TV. I don't watch TV consistently at all. I haven't for 10 years. I'll watch every now and then. Yeah. I was watching it because of the elections, but you got to turn off that negative noise, get around positive people and positive information. And then if you hang around 5 entrepreneurs, man, you're going to be an entrepreneur. It's just who you hang around with. What are you associating with yourself,
Well, I'm going to wrap this up. So I really appreciate you being with me today. I was looking forward to talking with you all week. And so I love your energy. I love your enthusiasm. I love you, just relentless positivity, man. I like those kind of people. And so, yeah, like you said, you're the door-to-door serial killer, hashtag top producer. I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue watching you and promoting with you and get your name out there. And what I really like is you don't have a program to sell. You don't, a lot of people that are offering information, they have a program to sell. They've got some way to monetize what they're doing. I have a thing that I do that, kind of does that. And so, but, you don't have no program to sell. You just are helping people each day, every day. You can't help everybody because you don't have that time to do that. But yeah, I mean, you're genuine and I appreciate that, man.
No, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on your platform and give me a little bit of, like a little bit of publicity. I really appreciate that. I'm all about helping people. I am working and doing some things, some consulting on the side, but basically, man, I just want to provide people with the necessary tools to be successful in this industry so we can elevate and attract more professional people, because this industry's got a bad name. And I think that it's our duty, if you make what the income we make in this industry, it's your duty to give back to the industry in any way I can help anyone. I'm all about it, because no one helped me. I mean, there was people that helped me. I shouldn't say that, but there wasn't this much help around when I started.
Yep.
So thank you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Andy.
Yep. And thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Rocket Roof Show podcast. Be sure to subscribe through your favorite podcasting platforms such as iTunes or Google Play to get the latest episodes as they are launched. For more, please follow us on social media or visit our website at rocketroofshow.com. We look forward to joining you here again soon at the next launch.